guys, Ace Trainer Liam here. Welcome back to another episode of Season 9 of the premier Metronome Battle Tournament on YouTube, MetroMania. For those who aren't aware, MetroMania is an ongoing 16 Pokemon Metronome-only double battle tournament to determine the MetroMania Champion. And this season, as we found out last week, is all about fighting-type Pokemon, and it's taking place in the Isle of Armor's Master Dojo. Well, you know, like its back garden or whatever it is. If you're a fan of MetroMania already and you're ready for more, make sure you hit that like button. Let's go for a ridiculous like goal that we're never going to hit today. Let's aim for 5,000 likes. Maybe in 20 years' time we'll hit that, but hey, if you're watching this in 2040, how you doing? Am I still a YouTuber, or is my channel completely dead? Because it's alive right now, but who knows what's going to happen in 2 decades' time. If you're new as well, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a piece of the action or any of the content on my channel, and please share this video with a friend. And of course, use code ACE to save yourself some money on the beautiful, wonderful G Fuel, our beloved sponsor. Thank you so much, G Fuel, for sponsoring everything that I do. Love you guys, you're great. This is PewDiePie's Lingonberry. I really like it. It's really good in the summer. Do you know what? I was moaning that it's a little bit sour, and I'm not a big sour kind of flavor guy, I'm more of a sweet flavor guy, but this thing's getting me through the heat wave, man, as well as my aircon, but let's ignore that. 10% off G Fuel, mate, with code ACE. You'd be stupid not to use it. But of course, you don't want to hear me chatting this bollocks. You want to see more action. You're like, Guy, Liam, whatever your name is, it's Heat 2. Just get into the action, mate. Well, we will get into the action, but first of all, let's have a look at those beautiful brackets.
In the last episode of Metromania, which of course was the first episode of Season 9, we said goodbye to Hawlucha in an absolutely disgustingly dominant victory by Toxicroak. A very much surprising victory, I think, for a lot of people. We thought the flying type would help Hawlucha going forward, but it didn't. But now Toxicroak is in the quarterfinals and we need to find it an opponent. And that's what we're going to do this week as Urshifu, Rapid Strike form, takes on Grapploct. So here we go, it's Urshifu Rapid Strike form versus Grapploct. Now the reason, once again, just to remind you guys, the reason it's Rapid Strike form and not Single Strike form is because Single Strike form is fighting Dark, and we have way too many fighting and Dark type Pokemon already in this season, what with Scrafty and Pangoro. So I was like, you know what, let's just use the water type just to balance things out a little bit. Here's Solar Beam though from Urshifu to start things off. Regular Urshifu is going to absorb some light and attack on the next turn. Don't know how good an idea that is using 2-turn attacks. And Shiny Urshifu is going for Aurora Beam. I bet Grapploct was wishing it was a water type right now. It's kind of cruel to make Grapploct fight the typing of Pokemon that it should have really been. Regular Grapploct is going to go Shadow Punch to start things off for its team. Onto regular Urshifu there for a decent chunk of chip damage there. And now over to Shiny Grapploct, one of the greatest shinies from Generation 8, with Anchor Shot, which is going to be resisted because it's a Steel-type move, but it's a beautiful move there. Onto regular Urshifu for a tiny, tiny little bit of damage there. But of course, Urshifu can no longer escape, but that doesn't matter because these are only 2 Pokemon team battles as we go through Metromania. Urshifu is going to fire off that Solar Beam to start off the next turn onto the regular Grapploct, who's probably thankful it's not a water type right now. You know, I made that joke last turn the other way around. Let's do it again. Here's Shiny Urshifu with a Fusion Bolt. My word, that's going to be, it's going to be neutral. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be neutral because, again, Grapploct is not a water type. Does a decent chunk of damage there to Shiny Grapploct, though, who looks to retaliate, though. What will it do here? Going to go for Pin Missile, which will be resisted. Bug-type moves, of course, resisted by Fighting-type Pokemon. It's going to get 1 hit. It's going to get 2 hits. Any more hits? 3 hits from this Pin Missile, and that's a critical hit from that one. Any more hits? Nope, not very effective. Hit 3 times from that Pin Missile for a decent little bit of chip damage there. Over to the regular Grapploct, who's going to go for Head Smash. That is a Rock-type move, which I believe is resisted by the Fighting type there. Does a decent chunk of damage, though, to Urshifu for a not very effective move. Little bit of recoil damage brings that Grapploct down to less than half its max HP, which is a dangerous place to be. Remember, guys, you're against the legendary Pokemon. You got to be careful. Urshifu, though, will start off the next turn here. What's he got in mind? It's going to go for Fury Cutter, another Bug-type move there, so not going to be very effective there on Shiny Grapploct. Didn't do much damage at all. Barely saw the needle move. And now over to Shiny Urshifu, who's going to go for a Stun Spore. Shiny Grapploct does avoid the Stun Spore, so does not get paralyzed here. And we're going to see Icicle Spear from Shiny Grapploct, which is going to deal not very effective damage there to the Water type regular Urshifu there. We get 2 hits. We get 3 hits. Are we getting a 4th? We are getting a 4th. Can we get the Quinfector there? We do. 5 hits with the Icicle Spear from Shiny Grapploct. And Urshifu looking kind of on the back foot right now, no pun intended. And we see Parabolic Charge, though, which will be super effective from the regular Grapploct there. Massive damage to both Urshifu there. A little bit of damage to its own partner, though, but restores its HP, of course, with the absorption from each of those Pokemon. So regular Grapploct putting itself in a prime position in this battle right now. Great play there, I reckon, with the parabolic charge, as we see the next turn firing up over to Urshifu to start the turn off. It's now in the danger zone, though. What will it do? Gonna go for Safeguard. Okay, not a bad play there at this stage of the game. You want to protect the team as much as possible, so there's that Mystical Veil. Over to Shiny Urshifu, though. What will Shiny Urshifu follow up with? Gonna go for Focus Blast. It's avoided by Grapploct. That would have been a lovely stab Focus Blast right there. Over to regular Grapploct, though, who is gonna go for another Head Charge. I mean, if it works, use it again, even though it's not very effective. And that lands on the Shiny Urshifu there for a great chunk of damage. Again, decent, well, a tiny little bit of recoil damage there, but not putting the Shiny Urshifu in a good position at all there. Shiny Grapploct going for Vice Grip, spelt wrong in my opinion. Onto which of the Urshifu there? Onto the regular, which will knock it out. One Urshifu is down against these Grapploct. What will happen next? I have absolutely no idea, because I've not watched these battles back yet. So, you know, let's see if something happens. I have no idea. Here's Shiny Urshifu, though. What's Shiny Urshifu going to do in response? It's going to go for a Circle Throw. That is a stab Circle Throw, so that should do a decent chunk of damage from an Urshifu. Huge damage there to that regular Grapploct, and now it's over to the Shiny Grapploct with the follow-up. What will it do? Goes for Poltergeist. It is avoided by Shiny Urshifu, and over to the regular Grapploct to try and follow up. Goes for the follow-up with Super Fang there. That's going to half Urshifu's current HP from 44 down to 22 hit points. It's not looking good for Urshifu, which I did not think I'd be saying when I started getting ready to record the commentary for this battle. Here's Urshifu, though, with Double Edge. That's a dangerous play right there with your attack stats, sir. Oh, my word. Nearly takes down Shiny Grapploct. Not quite enough. Takes itself out with recoil, so gifts Grapploct the victory. It's 1-0 to Grapploct right now. That's quite surprising. I'm quite surprised. I can't say much more than that. Urshifu is currently on the back foot. Urshifu is currently having its back against the wall and needs to equalize if it doesn't want to go to a pride round, if it wants to be able to fight for a chance in the quarterfinals. Starts off with Lunge, though. Does Urshifu, it's not a very effective hit, but does a decent chunk of damage, and of course gets that attack stat drop. So not a bad shout on the part of regular Urshifu there. Now it's over to Shiny Urshifu, and what's it got in mind? Gonna go for Noble Roar, so it's going to increase, I believe, decrease the attack stat and the special attack stat of that Shiny Grapploct. They're slowly but surely taking Shiny Grapploct out of offensive commission right now. So it's at -2 attack and -1 special attack. We see Coil, so that nice counter there. So regular Grapploct is going to increase its attack and its defense and its accuracy by 1 stage apiece to kind of make up for the fact that its partner is slowly but surely being reduced in power. And here is Defense Curl. Upping its own defense is Shiny Grapploct. It's like, hey, you're going to reduce my attack? I'm going to reduce your defense. I'm going to increase my defense, which effectively reduces your attack going forward as long as you don't get any critical hits. That's what we meant. That's what we meant. So over to Urshifu, Shiny Urshifu to start the next turn off. What's it going to do here? Going to go for Work Up and increase its own attack and defense. There's lots of stats going on here. Lots of stat changes at the start of this second round of this second heat of Metromania Season 9. That's a little tongue twister right there. Over to regular Urshifu for Flower Shield, but it does fail. Over to Shiny Grapploct. Are we going to see any attacks now? Anything going to happen? We see Present. That is the signature move of Delibird, of course. Shoutouts to Delibird. Tiny little bit of damage there. The lower end of the present scale. At least it wasn't the healing version. And over to regular Grapploct for a Psycho Shift, which does fail. So not a great turn for the Grapploct team there. Really dancing around each other are these two teams this round. Over to Shiny Urshifu, though. What's Shiny Urshifu going to do here? Going to go for Bolt Strike, but it's avoided by Shiny Grapploct. Over to regular Urshifu to see if it can do anything here. Going to go for Nightshade. That's a guaranteed 50 hit points. That's not a bad play at all here. So guaranteed 50 hit points on the regular Grapploct there. A huge chunk of its HP. And over to Shiny Grapploct with Hypnosis. It's going to put which of the Urshifu to sleep? I believe it's the Shiny Urshifu who's going to be going to sleep for however many turns it chooses to be asleep, I suppose. Over to the regular Grapploct. How's it going to follow up on this? A Dream Eater would be deadly right now. Goes for Lash Out, which I believe is a Dark type move introduced in Generation 8. Onto the Shiny Urshifu, is sleeping. It does a decent chunk of damage for a not very effective hit there. So now we've got one Urshifu asleep, one Urshifu awake, and two Grapploct who still have a decent chunk of their HP. So Shiny Urshifu is fast asleep right now, won't be partaking in the next turn. And regular Urshifu is going to go for Fly. It's going to hide for this turn. Not a bad play right there. While your partner is a sitting duck, you might as well leave it where it is, protect yourself, and then get a super effective hit on the next turn. We see Hurricane though. Speaking of super effective hits, Hurricane from Shiny Grapploct. Huge damage there to Shiny Urshifu, and gets the confusion from the Hurricane. That's not a bad play at all. Great play, in fact, by Shiny Grapploct. Here's regular Grapploct who goes for Ember, but regular Urshifu avoids the attack from up in the sky right there. We know it's going to do a super effective hit with Fly on the next turn. So here it comes. Urshifu gonna fly onto the Shiny Grapploct there for a great chunk of damage, bringing it down to less than half its max HP. Shiny Urshifu, unfortunately, is still a sitting duck, fast asleep there. Shiny Grapploct gets a chance to respond. It's going to go for Aqua Ring and restore its HP at the end of each turn by, I believe, 1/8 or 1/16. Let me know in the comments below. Is it 1/8 or 1/16 for Aqua Ring? It's just escaping me right now. We see Growl from the regular Grapploct there, going to reduce the attack stat of both the Urshifu. Not a bad play, because of course attack is Urshifu's wheelhouse, and if you're reducing that stat, you are very much protecting your team going forward. There's the restorative power. Looks like a 16th of the Aqua Ring for Shiny Grapploct there. What's the Urshifu team going to do? They're in a bit of a sticky situation right now, especially with Shiny Urshifu still fast asleep. Over to regular Urshifu, who's really doing the work for its team right now. Goes for Acid Spray. Great play right there onto the Shiny Grapploct there. Not a great deal of damage, but is going to reduce the special attack, special defense of that Grapploct by 2 stages. So special attacks are going to do more damage, basically. Here's a not very effective Night Slash, but chance to crit from regular Grapploct onto the Shiny Urshifu. Does not get the critical hit. Not very effective damage. Not a great deal done there. Over to the Shiny Grapploct, who's going to go for Lick on the regular Urshifu there. Lands the paralysis, though. That is detrimental for the Urshifu team. That is not good at all. And there's the HP restore from the Aqua Ring for Shiny Grapploct at the end of the turn. It could go either way right now, but we do have one Urshifu asleep and one Urshifu paralyzed. Oh, tell a lie. We have one Urshifu wide awake right now. Both Urshifu wide awake, technically, if you're going to be pedantic about it. Ignores the confusion. Goes for the Metronome. Goes for Leech Life. That's not very effective, especially with -1 attack. Tiny bit of chip damage there, and restoring a tiny bit of HP to that Shiny Urshifu there. Needs to work a little bit harder if it's going to have any chance going forward. These Urshifu need to equalize if they want to go to the quarterfinals. Tailwind coming out from the regular Grapploct there. Not a bad play at all at this stage of the game. What will Shiny Grapploct do to follow up on its partner's Tailwind there? It's going to go for a Freeze Dry, which is super effective on Water-type Pokemon, onto the paralyzed regular Urshifu there for a great chunk of damage. Not quite enough to drop it less than half, but it is a good chunk of damage nonetheless. Over to that regular Urshifu, who's going to go for Prismatic Laser, which is super effective on which of the Grapploct, though? Because one of those Grapploct, it's on the regular Grapploct, takes it down. We are down one Grapploct. The Urshifu are fighting back, clawing back. What is going to happen on the next turn? I have no idea. Shiny Grapploct restoring a little bit of HP. Got to be a little bit nervous right now, because there's 2 Urshifu on the field and just the one Grapploct who is at less than half its max HP. What's Grapploct going to do here? It's going to go for Imprison. Oh, that's devious. Imprison is going to lock the seal any moves that the opponent shares. Of course, all these Pokemon share the same one move, which is Metronome, which means that neither of these Urshifu can use Metronome. Grapploct gets a free turn of healing from the Aqua Ring, and now both the Urshifu are forced to struggle. Although, Urshifu do have quite a strong attack stat, even with -1 attack, so that might not be great for Grapploct, because those are guaranteed offensive hits now. Fell Stinger, not very effective from Grapploct there. Did a decent chunk of damage with the critical hit, but not a great deal to that paralyzed Urshifu. One Urshifu, Shiny Urshifu, is confused, has no moves left, goes for a struggle. Let's see how much damage this actually does. It does a good chunk of damage. Grapploct can't really survive many more of those hits. That's a huge chunk of recoil damage, but Grapploct's in a tricky position right now. Urshifu goes for struggle, doesn't do as much damage as its partner, though. And of course, it's going to hit, it's taking that recoil damage, putting it in the danger zone. Grapploct is somehow surviving right now. I really don't know how. It's in a very precarious position. We see Focus Energy coming out from Grapploct, though. That is going to increase the critical hit ratio of Grapploct, but I don't know if it's going to survive. The Shiny Urshifu is confused, has no moves left, goes for struggle. Is it going to be enough to take down Grapploct and equalize? It's not! It hangs on! Oh my god, Urshifu is down What's going to happen, though? Because guaranteed Urshifu's paralyzed. Regular Urshifu's paralyzed and can't attack with the struggle. Oh, my God. How is Grapploct still in this? The Tailwind peters out. What's going to happen next, though? Grapploct barely hanging on. Grapploct is going for the Metronome. Is it going to go to 2-0 or is it... It's going for stored power. That's super effective. Is it going to be enough to take down Urshifu? It is, and so lucky is that Grapploct to be going through to the quarterfinals. It's 2-0. We are going to another Pride round, which in Metromania, it's unprecedented to have two 2-0 victories in Metromania. I don't think we've ever had two 2-0 victories back-to-back. Urshifu, the legendary Pokemon that is in this tournament, going out to Grapploct. I never thought I would see, but you've got to say, and I think all the comments are going to say this, that Grapploct got really lucky with that paralysis. If that paralysis hadn't happened, we'd be equalizing, and we'd be seeing who is going through to the quarterfinals right now. We'd still be asking that question. But Grapploct got really lucky. That imprisoned play was fantastic. Here is a stab surf, though, from Urshifu. Going to hit everybody, dealing a decent chunk of damage. Urshifu playing for Pride right now, doing a great hit. Great hits on that first turn. Grapploct going to follow up. Dream Eater doesn't affect Urshifu because, of course, Urshifu is not asleep. Over to regular Grapploct here. What will it do? Regular Grapploct going to go for Nasty Plot, increase its special attack by 2 stages here. But Urshifu fighting for Pride right now. Mate, I'm actually really surprised. Like, I don't know about you, but I did not see Grapploct going very far. When I saw the brackets after the random number generator gave them to me, I did not see Grapploct taking out Urshifu. Mach Punch, look how much damage Mach Punch did. That was a critical hit onto regular Grapploct there. Over to Urshifu. Regular Urshifu is going to go for Floral Healing. That's a weird play, because that's like Heal Pulse. We haven't seen that in ages, I don't think, Floral Healing. That's going to restore 50% of Grapploct's HP. So, Grapploct, you lucky bugger, you've now got more HP thanks to Urshifu. Shiny Grapploct, though, is going to go for an Air Slash, which will be super effective. Flying-type moves are very dangerous in Metromania, as are Psychic-type moves. Huge damage there to Shiny Urshifu. Over to the regular Grapploct now, who just got healed. You're going to return the favor, mate? Goes for Scold. Not very effective on that Shiny Urshifu right there. Decent chunk of damage, though, even for a not very effective hit, and gets the burn. Oh, my good lord. Poor Urshifu. Poor Shiny Urshifu has had its attack stat halved, basically, by that burn. And it's going to take burn damage at the end of each turn. My word, Grapploct is one to watch out for, really? Here's regular Urshifu, though. Going for Fake Out, that's going to fail because it's not the first turn that Urshifu has been in the battle. And here is the Shiny Urshifu trying to follow up, going for Spite, trying to reduce the amount of Metronomes. Well, I mean, succeeding. Reducing the amount of Metronomes that Shiny Grapploct has by 4. Not really going to do that much going forward. But what is regular Grapploct going to do in retaliation? Going to go for Jaw Lock. That is not very effective damage, but it's on the regular Urshifu there. Tiny bit of damage. Prevents escape for both Pokemon, but both Pokemon aren't going to be trying to escape anyway because there's only 2 per team, as we know. Here's Shiny Grapploct, though, who is going to go for Spore. Really? Spore on the regular Urshifu there. We got 1 Urshifu asleep, 1 Urshifu burned. What is this? Come on, Grapploct. I mean, I feel like they're not being as cruel as the Toxicroak team were being last time, but it would have been nice. I mean, there's still a chance that Urshifu could leave with Pride if this regular Urshifu wakes up quick enough, but come on, guys, don't do this to them. Here's Shiny Urshifu, though, the 1 Urshifu that is awake, going for Bulldoze. It's going to damage everybody on the field, bear in mind. Not a great deal of damage at all because it's halved by the burn, but everyone's going to lose a little bit of speed as well. 1 stage of speed for everybody on the field there that was affected by that Bulldoze. And here is Grapploct with the follow-up, who's going to go for Fling. It's going to fling its Leper Berry. We're seeing a bit of this. This is going to be a common thing now that Leper Berries are in play. We're going to see a lot of Leper Berry play going forward. So, restoring the PP of Metronome for Shiny Urshifu there for however long it remains on the field. Here we see Shiny Grapploct, who's going to go for Present. We've seen this before from Shiny Grapploct. Here's the Present. Onto the Shiny Urshifu. Oh, that was a big hit with the Present as well. Down, Shiny Urshifu with the burn down to just 10 hit points. And its partner Pokemon is still asleep. Shiny Urshifu gonna do what could possibly be its last move of this battle here. Goes for Bulldoze once again. Gonna reduce the speed of everybody on the field. Why not? Barely any damage. Doesn't have much effect on this battle at all. We know Burn is going to do 10 damage because it did 10 damage last turn, so we know this is Urshifu's last turn if a miracle doesn't happen, or if Shiny Grapploct doesn't take pity and heal it. Or either of the Grapploct, sorry, I should say. Here comes regular Grapploct, though, who is going to go for Shift Gear, increase its speed by 2 stages, and its attack by 1, I believe. It's been a while since I've seen Shift Gear. There we see it. Speed sharply, 2 stages, and of course 1 stage for the attack. There we go. Over to the Shiny Grapploct now, who's going for Leech Life onto which of the Urshifu here? Onto the sleeping Urshifu, because it knows that Urshifu is going to be here at the end of this turn. That means that Shiny Urshifu is going to succumb to the burn damage there. Down it goes. We got 1 Urshifu versus 2 Grapploct. What even is this? I mean, if you have a look at Urshifu's stats, it's not got legendary defenses. It just has legendary attack stat and a bit of special attack, really, and a little bit of speed. It's not a great defender, to be honest, if you have a look. It's not got great base stats. Like, it's not got a great base stat total, to be honest. Hydro Cannon from regular Grapploct ain't going to do a great deal. I mean, it did do a great deal, to be fair. Shut your mouth, Liam. Did a decent amount of damage there for a not very effective hit. Urshifu does wake up, though. What's it got on its mind now to wake? Goes for Brutal Swing. That's not going to be very effective on either of these Grapploct here. Doesn't do much damage at all. And now it's the Grapploct's turn to fire back. So Shiny Grapploct, what's it got in store? Going to go for Bug Bite. So it's going to bite down on that Urshifu. Not quite enough. Brings it down to about 8 hit points. Leper Berry of Urshifu is going to be eaten by that Grapploct there to make up for it having its PP reduced earlier on. If you need a PP reduction, I don't know any doctors because I'm never going to ask for one. Need to use whatever I've got. Here we see Baby Doll Eyes, though, from Urshifu. A bit too little too late, mate, to start reducing attack stats right now. So down goes the attack of Shiny Grapploct there. Over to Shiny Grapploct with the retaliation. What's on its mind? Gonna go for Hurricane. It's avoided by Urshifu. Very lucky there. Urshifu trying to stay in this battle right here. But what's the Grapploct gonna do? Oh, Grapploct is gonna go first on this turn, and it's gonna go for Agility and increase its speed even more. I mean, you're already at +2 speed. Now you're at +4 speed, so sure, why not? And what's the Urshifu going to do in response here? Urshifu, the second fastest thing on the field, going to go for Metal Sound and reduce the special defense of regular Grapploct by, I believe, 2 stages. That's not going to help you either, really, going forward. You need to be attacking. You've got 8 hit points, mate. Come on. Here, this is supposed to be for pride. First impression is going to fail from Shiny Grapploct. That does give an opportunity to Urshifu, but of course it's got to wait and see what regular Grapploct's got in store here. Regular Grapploct, what is on your devious mind right now? It's going to go for Trick or Treat and change Urshifu to a Ghost type. If anything, that helps Urshifu, because if the Metronome chooses any normal or fighting type moves, they're now no longer going to affect Urshifu. Very strange play there. Urshifu is going to go for Inferno, but it's avoided by Grapploct. Very unfortunate there for Urshifu. Here's the Shiny Grapploct, though, who's going to go for Gear Grind. Ow, I just hurt myself. Here we see the Gear Grind. Just 1 hit from the Gear Grind. It's another 3-0. It's another complete washout. Grapploct goes through. It's going to face Toxicroak in the quarterfinals. Our first quarterfinal is set. Let's take a look at the brackets if we can, please, bracket man. So Grapploct decimates Urshifu, goes through to face Toxicroak in the quarterfinals. Next week, it's Hitmontop versus Bewear. Make sure you tune in.
So that'll do it for another episode of Metromania Season 9. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to support the channel like the beautiful people down here do, pledge to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/AceTrainerLiam and save yourself some money on G Fuel whilst helping the channel. Use code ACE with your order. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.